just read the script again.
Yeah, and we're live. Yeah, what's going on, people?
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, welcome
We
back to
haven't
another
been on
episode.
for 10 minutes already.
Yeah,
We already had the insiders conversation before this.
yeah,
Lots of good stuff.
another live cast with Butterfield. We're joined today by Alex Rhodes, also known as Alex at Alex Animal Based, uh, host of the host, should I say, founder, creator,
Yeah,
who
host.
also runs the Meet Cute podcast,
Yeah.
and soon to come some other projects, maybe.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you say so. But yeah, welcome, Alex. We got a soundboard going on.
That was totally on key, too.
You get the trumpets. Yeah, welcome. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Appreciate you having you on. Oh, look, the dog.
Oh, yes. This is Ella.
Nice.
We have another carnivore joining us.
Now her butt's just going to be in the camera the whole time.
Yeah. Do you feed her a carnivore diet?
I do my best.
Do your best.
We're still, carnivore for me and Ella. And my dad now can get a little pricey.
Oh.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
But I do my best. She really essentially eats what I eat because I just make extra and she eats it. And then she'll have, I would say like kibble as like a supplement.
Supplemental kibble.
Yeah.
Supplemental kibble.
Supplement some kibbles.
Um,
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
Just cut off your dad, and
That's right.
Yo. Wait, so your dad is? Did you turned him full carnivore now?
Okay. Well,
He's on the meat because I know we talked about this last time.
yes. So he's been eating animal based with me, probably like 80% of the time, 20% not. For 2 or 3 months now. And then
Nice.
since we've been in Florida, I've started my cut and I okayed it with Coach. And I was like, I want to do an all carnivore cut. So I started like full on carnivore and like shooting to be in ketosis a couple of days ago. So I've been absolutely starving, but still eating 3,200 calories. But I think my body's like, carbs.
Oh,
Carbs.
yeah, going through the carb withdrawal.
Yeah.
It's normal to feel the cravings. That's what carbs are good for.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Wait, but 3,200 calories?
Oh, yeah. I've been on 35 for the last 3-ish weeks or so. So I've been eating good.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good amount of food.
Yeah. I probably weigh more than each of you.
Well,
Mm,
my brother here is like all muscle and brains.
yeah.
So
We've been on a bulk too.
Yeah.
Just
It's a
doing
big brain. It's the big.
But yeah,
big brain.
yeah. Might just be a few more pounds
Maybe
than
just
you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
A few inches shorter though. We got Frank in the house. Shout out Frank. Thanks for watching, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight. He says, hello, fellas, and lady.
Lady.
Yeah, can you read that?
I feel like the
did-
celebrity's reading off the tweets on like Saturday Night Live or something.
yes. All right. So, yeah, we want to talk to Alex, and I guess for our listeners, we'll start with your background, right? Because currently, you kind of already told us everyone that you're carnivore, and you're actually going through a carnivore cut. But perhaps we can start from the beginning. Is the beginning when you started eating red meat? Is the beginning when you became a carnivore, animal based?
Yeah. When you heard the term animal based for the first time?
Yeah. Well, the beginning can get kind of. I feel like my beginning was really natural. It was like my body telling me I needed to begin. But I didn't at that point even know the term of carnivore. So let me go all the way back to I was diagnosed at 20 with hypothyroidism and put on levothyroxine, and I was on it for 7 years.
Wow.
And yeah, during those 7 years, I started bodybuilding, and went on to, like prep for my first show. It got canceled in 2020. I, at that time, was like using copious amounts of salt on my food. Like when you would see me salt my food, you would have probably even the average carnivore would have been like, okay, that's a little much. And so shortly thereafter, it was about a year after I had started having those salt cravings, that I had a grand mal seizure in the middle of Tulum, Mexico.
Wow.
And yeah, it was honestly, life-changing in a lot of ways. There was such a spiritual bit about it, of just like, or like this eternal gratitude of like, okay, I was not on this planet for, the 2 or 3 minutes that I was out cold after seizing, and like waiting on this ambulance in this like rock alley, in the middle of Mexico.
Yeah.
And yeah, but after that, so this is sort of like when I feel like carnivore animal-based found me. So I started having these like super intense cravings for ribeye. Like all I would eat was ribeye and milk. So like my partner would go to the store every day. And when I say I was eating ribeye, I mean like I was going through probably 4 to 5 ribeyes in a day, just like going ham. And so I did that probably for like 6 or 7 months. And whenever I got home from Mexico after like having the seizure and stuff, I continued to eat ribeye all the time. And I, sort of like switched over to milkshakes, because at the time I didn't really even think about like, what am I actually craving? But so I started drinking milkshakes like crazy, like these like, like a vanilla milkshake, no flavorings. I didn't want any flavorings, didn't want it fudge covered. Like I just wanted a vanilla milkshake and a ribeye. And that's what I ate for the longest time. And honestly, when I started to feel better, I started incorporating other things and kind of went back to a more standard American diet. And then fast forward into 2022, my partner and I moved to San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. And we were there for about, 6 or 8 months. And in the midst of being there, we were sitting at a coffee shop, and I looked over at this girl, and she was just like vibrant. Like I just like, she was tan and stuff, but there's just something like her skin just looked so supple, right? Like it was like moisturized and like, it's like that classic carnivore glow that you see on everyone. And
Thank you.
What?
Thank you.
You're very welcome. But yeah, and so I just noticed that glow, and like we kind of made eye contact, and like I felt like this just really instant connection with her, right? Like I was just like, I need to know this girl for whatever reason. And so she came by our table and introduced herself, and we, caught up a couple of days later and had coffee. And during this time, I've been vegan in the past, and I'm sure we'll get more into that. And it was absolutely the worst mistake I've ever made. I'm going to look at the camera when I say this.
It's serious.
Ever go vegan. And because that's when all my thyroid problems started, but we'll revert to that. And so I'm talking with this girl, and at the time I was talking with this like scientific researcher in San Miguel, and she was encouraging me to go vegan because she was looking at my blood work, and I had like high uric acid and, a couple of like other just like sort of like concerning blood markers. And
yeah, like cholesterol or something else.
My cholesterol, I'm pretty sure has been high my whole life. Probably not from the good kind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it has been high my whole life. And so, yeah, so she was just encouraging me to go vegan. She was like, you need more like legumes and this and that. And like, I just had this like honestly like this resistance, but then I started talking to this girl that I met, and she was telling me how she ate animal based, and like she had just come off of a month of like pretty much the lion diet. And she was like telling me like she had been vegan for like 7 years before going like just like completely to the opposite of being like animal based carnivore. And so on like my partner left and went back to Oklahoma for just a little while, and Marika, the girl that I met, came and stayed with me at my house. And she, if you can go to San Miguel, you can just get like a huge villa for just like nothing. So if you ever have the chance and feel like going to Italy in the middle of Mexico, that's kind of where the vibe is. Go for it. But anyway, so she came and stayed with me, and she cooked all, you know, like animal based, meat based. And even at this point, I was still eating ribeye at least 3 times a week, just because I was like, but then I was trying to like, you know, come back off of it, because I was like, I can't eat ribeye just like all the time. And so whenever she came over and she started cooking, you know, we would cut up fresh fruit and we would eat ribeye. And like, honestly, it was sort of like this like communion of just like health, right? Like in like, you know, over the course of the week that she stayed with me, I promised myself like I was going to half my medication and I was going to wean myself off of it, like my hypothyroidism medication. And so I halved it, made it a day or 2, and then every time I would take it, I would be anxious, like physically like on edge, like, you know, when you just drink not just like too much coffee, but like way too much coffee. That's kind of what it felt like. Like my body's like rejecting my medication. And so eventually I like halved that dose, and then at day 7 I was just like, I can't, like I literally just cannot take it anymore. And so I stopped taking my meds completely. And yeah, and like I've been honestly animal based ever since. I can probably count on my fingers how many times I've eaten something off of like animal based, and that's including the times that I've had, you know, like a bite of potato or a vegetable.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean there's just been no looking back for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you never had this experience that where you were taking the medications and your body was just rejecting it. It was at this moment after, you know, I guess eating more animal based, your body started rejecting the medication.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you know, definitely like clear, blatant signs. Like, it's like if you try a new supplement, right? And you're just like, oh, this just makes me feel uneasy. But it's like, obviously that, like, yes, just body was like, no, we're not taking this anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this was all while you were still in Mexico.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. And your friend, out of curiosity, was she Mexican or was she just like also a foreigner traveling?
Canadian.
Oh, she was Canadian. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. A bunch of carnivores in Canada.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if she was like native to San Miguel de Allende, like randomly carnivore there.
Yeah. No.
So if I got the timeline correct, it sounds like you know, you started taking your medications and then you had a seizure, and then immediately you started getting these cravings for steak or ribeyes specifically. Good choice. Good intuitive choice. But you had you had no idea of carnivore at this point.
Until I met Marika in San Miguel de Allende, I had never even, you know, I had obviously heard of like keto, but I had never heard of carnivore at all. Yeah. Didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah. And you shared with her that you had a seizure, and then all you craved was a ribeye steak after that. And then she was like, duh, that's real food. You want real food.
Yeah, moron. More of it.
Yeah, steaks and vanilla milkshakes.
Yeah.
That should just be a whole other diet on its own.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I can make that carnivore.
Yeah, milk and eggs.
and ice
Boom.
in a
Cream.
blender
Yeah.
with some cinnamon. Are we onto something?
Yes, we're making carnivore ice cream. Um, so at what point in time did you start veganism?
So I started vegan maybe at like 19. And yeah, I remember I watched a documentary on Netflix, and everybody that I tell this, they're like, "Oh, it's that documentary," and I can never remember the name of it.
Yeah.
What the
But
health?
What the hell?
that's what it is.
Game changers. Earth
Yes.
rings. I don't know.
Yes, that's so it was What the Health. And honestly, I have a huge soft spot for animals. I am an animal lover. You know, like I've got videos of my phone of like fuzzy spiders that will like crawl up onto my lounger while I'm eating beef in the sun. And you know, I swear they just like look at me. I'm like, oh, hello, fuzzy little spider. And so I've just always been such an animal lover. And when I watched What the Health, I was like, I'm never doing that to an animal ever again. And, you know, what it doesn't mention is the complete opposite side of like these farmers that do have like great practices, like, you know, that are animals first, you know, that make these animals feel, you know, at home and comfortable and like respect them, you know, deeply. Like, you know, you are our food supply, like you are our life source. And yeah, so that's really what made me go vegan, is just like my love for animals. And obviously I missed out on the whole rest of that, but that was the reason. Definitely not for health reasons. It just declined steadily as I was vegan.
Yeah, and that was after you got interested in bodybuilding, or was that before?
That was before.
That was before the bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Because before you also had like a big drop in weight, right?
Yes. I was gonna say, we take it way back to my high school days. I lost about 100 pounds over the course of like my high school days. And
Wow.
yeah, it was a lot. But chicken and broccoli sustained me for that long.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, and then after high school, I sort of I competed in CrossFit for a while, and then eventually decided that just wasn't for me. And then, yeah, it was like years down the road, I had dated an Olympic athlete from Jamaica. And, you know, I saw her lifestyle and I was like, dude, if she can do this, I can do this. And so like, that's when like my love for like bodybuilding and lifting kind of started.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have Frank. He says, I love how you bluntly said, don't go vegan. LOL, I can relate, but being vegetarian, I lost most of my muscle from being vegetarian and led me to severe binge eating, which I'm still dealing with till this day. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Frank, but I'm glad you got out.
Yes. Super proud of you, Frank.
Yeah, so I guess you did go through like a binge eating period.
100%. 100%. I would say my relationship with food has been something. I feel like I've lived so many different lives, right? Like, I definitely think I came from a divorced home, and you know, like I feel like that leaves like residual trauma in and of itself. And like, we were raised by our dad, and you know, not that dads aren't amazing, but you know, my mom was very absent. And so I think like just this like residual emotional buildup over time led to emotional eating as a child. And then as I grew up, it switched into more unhealthy patterns. Like, instead of emotional eating, I would restrict, right? So I had like through high school, I started this like restrictive dieting. And so I think when you have like disordered eating, it's not ever this like linear process. It can be one thing or the other. Like it can lead into different types of disorders. And, I would even say like disordered eating is as much when you eat too much or too little as it is when you exercise too much to compensate for the, like calorie intake from food. And so, yeah, for sure through high school, I went through restrictive dieting. And like, I would just try to like not eat all day. And then I think as those habits got worse, my body eventually was so starving that binge eating became the thing, because it's like at some point something had to give. But then I would still starve myself all day, and I would eat, I'd bake a fresh batch of brownies and eat the whole thing, or a no bake cookies, and I would eat the whole batch. Like if it was in the house, like I just could not even stop myself from eating. And so, yeah, I would say like my relationship with food and like the evolution of my journey with food and like how healthy it is now is probably my greatest triumph ever. But I would say that animal-based and carnivore is what truly cured that relationship. And nutritional deficiencies, I'm sure.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You certainly lived many different lives, and it's funny because one of the questions I had for you, I just came up with, is when you look at your profile on Instagram, it looks like you've lived many different lives. Like, you've changed your look many times.
Threads, braids,
Yeah,
long.
because I remember when we first like met online, you looked like a Viking. You had like this Viking look.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was kind of a Viking look.
Yeah.
It was the dreads.
Yeah.
But then you were like the background of the videos you were shooting were like in this like brick stone place, looking like it just looked like very Viking like.
A Viking's home.
A Viking's home. Yeah. Was that what you were going for, or was it just
Honestly, I guess that's just the vibe I was giving.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional.
That might just be my interpretation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can see that.
I thought Alex actually went out and hunted just for real, and then just had the game right there on the spot.
Yeah. I'm sad to say that I have never, I've maybe gone hunting one time in my life. It's all.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, I think that's something interesting, right? I mean, we always talk about trying to go hunting. We haven't, it's something we want to do too, but it's something that someone who is carnivore kind of seeks.
Yeah.
Someone who's carnivore ends up seeking a farmer, and the hunting, just more ways to reconnect with nature.
Yeah. So look at that. You went from going vegan, for the animals, to even hunting.
Yeah. Well, and but might I add too, I've never felt so connected to animals as I do now, which can seem strange, but it's like just when you're vegan, it's like you distance yourself so much from, it's like you can't even look at cows because you already feel so guilty and so shameful for what is going to happen to them, that you really just like lose this connection to all other living creatures that are not humans, because you're just so concerned about their safety or their life or whatever, that you kind of forget that they just want to be loved, sort of. It's like a cow. Like if you see it out in a pasture with its owner, like it will literally play with them, right? Like those are the moments that, like, that's really all they care about. And so, it's just interesting because like now I can see that, whereas when I was vegan, I couldn't. And maybe I just loved animals too much, but I feel way more connected to them now. And yes, would definitely, like, if I see a TV show where they kill a deer or something like that, and whereas it used to make me really uneasy, now I'm like, oh, they're literally killing their food.
Yeah.
which is like super empowering, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally relate. I mean, whenever I see like birds out in the wild, there's lots of turkeys, like wild turkeys where we live,
Mhm.
and you'll see them just like roll around in gangs, um, groups of turkeys. I'm sure they have a special term for that. You know, like how
Gangs for sure.
what
I said gangs for sure.
gangs of turkeys. I'm like, hey, free lunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know,
Well, I'm paying so much for this.
yeah, yeah. The government doesn't want you to know they're free.
Absolutely.
There's food out there in nature.
Yeah, yeah. There's birds by the beach. You know, should you know, push come to shove, we're gonna have to figure something out.
Some seagulls.
Yeah, seagulls.
Absolutely. Well, you guys can have your turkey and birds, but I'll eat my deer. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you are there deer over there in Oklahoma?
There must be.
yes. Yeah.
Of
Quite a few.
course.
Yeah.
Of course. Ignorant question of mine.
No, I mean, I don't think so. Where are you guys at again?
Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Yes. Yeah.
We're by the beach. That's why we said.
Yeah. I couldn't even tell you what wildlife would be native there, of course, other than what you've said already.
Squirrels.
Squirrels.
No, there's deer. There's deer here too, but we do have to drive up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were digging into your whole carnivore journey, animal-based journey. Now you feel more connected with animals, which is very interesting, right? Because you're eating them, right? So
Lots of them.
lots of them, which is, I think someone who initially comes into carnivore will probably struggle with the morality of killing something for health. So love to hear your take on how now you feel more connected and how I guess you feel you went from that feeling of veganism into the feeling that, well, now that you have more connected with animals.
Yeah. What would you tell someone that feels morally conflicted like that?
I mean, I feel like I would encourage somebody who's morally inflicted like that to just go out and spend some time in nature. Like to go to a farm and, watch chickens pluck the bugs out of the ground with zero remorse. Like they're not, sitting around going, oh, these bugs are so nice and cute. I don't want to kill them. They're like, no, let me destroy these bugs right now.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, honestly, I feel like that's just like, that's the answer. Like, that's the key. I think that nature is the perfect creation that we are meant to mimic and not the other way around. And so I think going out and seeing, like, we are animals after all, right? Like going out and seeing other animals act, like, of course, maybe we're not going to like, go kill a deer and just like gnaw into it, We're going to cook it and we're going to skin it and we're going to store it because we're blessed with this like mental capacity to do so. But I really like think about it in that way of like, go look and see what's actually in nature as opposed to like what propaganda is telling you, as opposed to what social media says you should be doing. And I think the answers lie there.
I love it. Yeah, we also relate to that. Well, I'm saying we, but we're brothers, so I can speak for both, can I?
2 for 1.
I have no individual opinions.
It is a group opinion here.
I'm in a sistership. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the answers, like you say, you can find them in nature. You can go outside, you can see things living and dying both simultaneously, right? It's just part of cycle of life, and we are humans, and as you said, the animal, it's feeding on the worm, no remorse. The animal just knows this is nutrition.
Mhm.
We are in a privileged position, obviously, by having a conscious that we understand the suffering, right? But because of that, we're also blessed because um, we can understand the suffering, right? So we can provide humane ways in killing these animals.
Absolutely.
And ultimately, carnivore has taught us that it's health,
Yeah.
um, which you know the best way to honor the animal is to live a healthy life.
Yeah. And you say like a humane way. And I mean, naturally I go to like a lion whenever I'm thinking about. So it's like I saw a video a few weeks back and it just like, it hit my animal's soft spot really hard, but they were, I don't know, it was an antelope. I don't even know if that's what it's called, but it's like mauling this animal that's still alive.
Oh yeah.
These lions have they have not a care in the world about this animal literally still trying to bite at them as they're like, gnawing on it. And so,
Yeah,
I think as humans, like you said, we're blessed with this like consciousness where we're like, oh, we understand this suffering and like we can do this in a humane way. It's like, even though I more than disagree with like the cattle industry, like as far as like mass production goes, I do think that we still is far more humane for them to die by our hands than it is for them to die in the wild. I mean, the wild is aggressive, like we're
Yeah.
actually a lot nicer than what would happen to them if they were out and about.
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah. Where'd you see that clip? Was that like on Nature is Metal, like on Instagram, or
I don't know where I
no?
saw that. Yeah, somewhere on Instagram.
Yeah, there's this account, like I think it's called Nature is Metal.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They literally like show those clips, and it's really like sobering to see,
Hmm.
that way things go down in nature. It's really you don't usually see that, but
Yeah. Did
yeah.
you see the clip of the wedding where was it an alligator was eating a baby moose?
Oh
oh,
no, no.
Yeah,
Oh man.
it was terrible. That one pulled on my heartstrings too. But it's like yet again, just like this perfect example of like nature being
Yeah.
nature.
If you hunt the alligator, you'll get the baby moose in the alligator.
you get
Throw
stacked nutrition.
just yeah, throw it over a pit. Yeah. We have a question over here for you. Frank says, Alex, besides ribeye, what's your favorite meal? Also, what type of fitness do you include in your animal-based way of living? That's a
Uh,
great segue to talk about fitness.
Absolutely. So, Frank, I love New York strip.
Yeah.
That would be my second favorite. Um, I had this question in my stories the other day about eggs, and honestly, I don't eat a lot of eggs, but I think I ruined
Mm.
myself with the texture during my bodybuilding days because I would eat so many egg whites. So I try to incorporate them in other ways, like in my coffee, like yolks in my coffee, or
Mm.
stuff like that. But don't eat them straight up. I don't eat them straight up. But yeah, I mean, I love ground beef and butter. That's a go-to meal of mine, as I feel like many, because it's easy and tasty. But yeah, those are my favorite meals. I'll add some bone broth sometimes to my um, ground beef and make a little soupy situation. I like that pretty good.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. We do that too once in a
Same.
while.
Just
It's
so
very, yeah,
comforting.
it's very good for the winter cold.
Especially during the winter, having a
Yeah.
nice warm bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mario, not Maria. So sorry.
Mario 5 or Mario V.
Mario 5.
Mario 5. Bison or beef? I'm a beef gal. I love me some beef. But I like bison as well. What about you guys?
Uh, kind of same, right? Bison's not that common around here in the grocery store, so we
Yeah.
haven't really ventured towards the bison path. Just
Yeah.
had like that those ground bison.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have those once in a while. But I mean, not opposed to bison at all. If I had the chance, I'd love to buy a whole one.
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mario 5?
Mario,
Let us know.
let us know what do you like, bison or beef? So yeah, bodybuilding.
Yeah. What type of fitness do you do?
Oh, I forgot about that half the question. Fitness that I do is I mean I'm a weightlifter through and through. I love to lift heavy stuff. I feel like it's not been in the last 6 months or so that I've been working with a new coach that I've really, really honed in on. Like, of course, I mean, I've honed in on form before, but she's like given me all new. It's just like a whole new light, right? So now my stuff that because I used to hit these brick walls when I would try to max out, and like, she was just like, well, probably because your mobility sucks and you're not embracing correctly or whatever it is. So, I feel like through my fitness journey, I've been living by this bro science. And now I finally feel like I'm living by real science.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I pretty much primarily weightlift. If I ever get the chance, I'll kick your butt and racquetball.
Yeah.
I certainly don't stand a chance.
Zero. Still level 0.
Still level 0. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Weightlifting.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you've been bulking and now you're cutting. You started cutting.
Yes. I've been on a bulk for the last, I think 3.5, maybe 4 months. And
Nice.
so I'm up
Same.
about what? Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up about 25 pounds. And I've honestly I've never, fitness-wise, I've been on a few bulks and I've never experienced, like, of course, like, I'm thicker than a Snicker right now. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, there is something about doing it on an animal-based diet. And of course, during my bulk, I was having like fruit and honey pretty like regularly. And when I got up to 3,500 calories, I was up to about 200 carbs, but I never exceeded that throughout my entire build. And yeah, honestly, although I'm thicker, like, my physique hasn't changed, like, my body composition hasn't really changed. Of course, there's, a little bit of like excess fat here or there, but I really don't know that I gained all that much body fat during my build on animal based, which has been honestly shocking to me. And I think like I've had more gains in this build than I ever have in a different build, for sure.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. Love to hear that.
Yeah. So yeah, the added weight sounds like it's better this time around, right? In terms of like it's more muscle.
Yes.
Right? As opposed to prior times, it probably more fat, so it doesn't look as good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel like, I'm a pretty confident human, but it's like in the past, right? If I was on the top of a build, I almost felt gross. Because you're just you're like trying to eat all these filler calories that don't make you feel good. You're probably still not nourished at all because you're not eating anything that's nourishing. And so you get to this point where you just like mentally feel gross, right? It's like, it's not even so much physical, but it's like this mental block because you're eating so much food. Your body's uncomfortable, probably because it doesn't even know what to do with the food that you're eating because it's probably a foreign body inside of you. And then, yeah, but on this one, I've not experienced hardly any of that. I'm like, maybe I'm up a pant size or whatever, but I'm going to put these comfy pants on and I'm going to rock them. If I'm going to be, I'm going to be in a bikini, like, it's really not even fazed me at all. And so that's been honestly, where I've like connected this like mental health and food choices journey, which is kind of where I'm planning on directing my page, because I didn't realize how, significant the changes in myself have been over the last, let's say 10 years from where, I've like struggled and would feel like I was so restricted and I would diet and I would do all this stuff. But now I'm eating like maybe 5 foods. I feel the most free that I've ever felt. And it's like, some people like Courtney Luna, for example, they're like, you have an eating disorder in case you didn't know. And I'm like,
Oh,
I don't think that that's true, and it's like, most people would look in at our lifestyle and be like, you guys are so restrictive and it's so not good for you. But then you're like, well, why do I feel so amazing? Like, why do I sit down next to a cake and literally not even want it? Like, because I feel so good right now.
Yeah.
Definitely an eating disorder.
Yeah. People just want to drag you down, when you're thriving like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you the same way, right? It's this incredible inner peace, inner strength, especially when it comes to food that used to tempt you. Me being a sweets guy, having sweets around, it's definitely a big temptation. But doing carnivore, it kind of the temptation goes away.
Yeah.
If I, in the past, it doesn't hit you hard until you have some, right? Once you have some, it's like it's harder to get back into like this kind of peace mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
We got some comments.
Yeah, let's check the comments quick, and then I have a question for Alex. I began eat bison every day a few months ago. I think I am not going back to beef, chicken, or turkey. Bison has an excellent omega-3 in comparison to salmon, which is a super bonus for me.
Interesting.
In comparison to salmon, that's very interesting.
That is super interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Yeah, not going back to beef. Wow.
That's a bold claim, bold statement.
Yeah.
Via ranches.
Feel like I'm missing out. I buy my bison via ranches, not grocery store. I buy in bulk via online to fill up my freezer. Yeah, that's the move. Definitely get in a freezer. It's one of our projects this year.
Yeah, a freezer.
Yeah. Have you had, Frank says, have you had any specialty meats, alligator, boar, etc.? I've had yak, ostrich, and alligator so far. Oh, man.
Honestly, I think at Silver Dollar City when we were kids, they have a beef jerky stand of all kinds of elaborate meats. And I'm pretty sure that I've had all of those in beef jerky form. But in my adult carnivore life, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say same. I think we tried it, right? We tried some beef jerky sticks, alligator, boar. I forget what other animals. But no, haven't tried them in their meat form yet. In their whole food animal based within the whole food matrix form yet.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it.
I'm sorry?
Do you guys eat oysters?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got some good oysters here around the Cape. So
yeah,
I've been
locally fished
here in Florida.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, here people fish. People catch oysters here and scallops. Yeah, so we've had some of those. Pretty good. Then there's a bunch of like whitefish here, but not a big fan of whitefish.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never been a big fish fan.
Nah, but we should go fishing. We should learn how to fish.
Yeah, we should.
Another project.
We should become fishermen.
I did. Fun fact: catch a, I don't know, 50-pound halibut or so.
Oh my God.
Alaska. I have gone fishing many times.
Yeah. You say in Alaska?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, fancy.
Did you eat it?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure I ate all of it that same summer that I caught it.
Wow.
Nice. Fillet yourself?
No.
No? Okay.
Not me.
Frank also says, yeah, being so restrictive led to a struggle, but carnivore has helped me grab a hold. But now I'm dealing with mental health aspect of binge eating.
Do the Alex approach. Have a ribeye 3-4 times a day, and then that's it. Yeah, it'll go away.
I won't say it's tried and true, but you know, I had a lot of thoughts when I would go back to like binge eating about like, what if I would have just eaten as much steak as I possibly could, you know, or like, what if it was that I binged on, you know, because I know for a fact, like, it's kind of like sushi. When you hit a wall, you know, it's like you're going ham on sushi, and then all of a sudden you have one bite, and it's like in between that one bite to the next bite, you're like, I can't eat any more sushi at all. Period. End of story. Don't even take it away immediately. So I feel like with, you know, meat, it's not as like cut and dry as sushi, but there is this point where your body's like, okay, that's enough. You know, like I don't really want any more of that. I remember when I first started eating animal based, I would eat so much ribeye, and then all of a sudden I would just be like, oh, I never want to see another ribeye ever again. But then 6 hours later, I'm like, oh, I think I'll have some more ribeye now. But, you know, like, I think that's a great way to like learn your hunger cues, right? And I think like binging has a lot to do with developing self-awareness. You know, like if you know that you're in an emotional state, or if you know that you know, you binge at night, or, you know, whatever, it's just like constantly staying on top of it and being mindful of like, okay, if I'm going to have this steak, like maybe I eat the whole steak, and maybe I eat half of another one, but maybe that's like, you know, I stop and I say to myself, like, that's enough to satisfy me for now, you know, and then, you know, cause I know you're going to be full, you know, like your body physically is going to be full. You know, and like finding other ways to fill that mental void may be helpful, but that's just coming from me and my personal experience.
I love it.
Yes, certainly filling up on meat helps. Fatty meat specifically, you don't want to go too lean.
Yeah, when you go, you know, because sometimes we get 90% ground beef or 80% ground beef, just whatever's on sale. When we go 90%, it like lacks substance. Even if you try to calorie equate it, it's still lacking, right? So definitely fattier can be more satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you get 90%, you can add butter.
You can add butter.
So
yes.
Yeah, definitely getting your fats in, I feel like would be super satiating and a way to retrain your hunger cues, which I think is essentially what carnivore does. You know, it really does retrain your hunger cues to be more, you know, efficient, I guess.
Yeah. It's a different feeling of satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, speaking about carnivore diet, how does your coach think about you doing all this bodybuilding with carnivore? Well, you did the bulking with animal based, so you included a little bit more fruit. But now you're cutting. You're thinking about doing it more strict or carnivore only. What does your coach say? Does your coach think you're crazy?
You know, honestly, we had a meeting just before this, and so from the very beginning, the whole reason that I chose her was, I mean, I told her from the get-go, I was like, this is how I'm eating. And if this is going to be a problem, you know, like, you know, I don't know if it'll, you know, I want to make sure this is going to be a good fit, and this is how I eat. And she was like so on board from the very beginning. And she honestly was like, I'm excited to see how this goes, just simply because I think that you're going to be able to build and not gain any body fat at all, you know, or like she's had a friend that eats pretty much strictly animal based. And I'm pretty sure she told me that she wants to go strictly animal based.
She wants to try it too?
Yes. Like I think it's after her next show, or, you know, she said something along those lines. And yeah, so whenever I talked to her last week about carnivore, we just like slightly voice messaged, and we actually just had our check-in right before this our live. And I was like, let's touch on the carnivore thing, you know, like, how are you feeling about that? She's like, I think if you want to be in ketosis during your cut, like, and do carnivore, that's 100% okay. She was like, there's not enough science anymore to support like you needing carbs for anything, you know?
Yeah.
You know, she's like, as much as like, you know, bro science and bodybuilding wants to be like, you need carbs. They're actually the only non-essential macronutrient. So it's, you know, she's like, yeah, I think once you go into ketosis, you're going to be fine. And she was like, if anything, I think in order to like, to preserve muscle. And so my experimenting here is like, I want to see what being in ketosis is going to be like for like muscle mass retention in a cut versus like, because it's like if you're like slightly out of ketosis and low carb and also in a calorie deficit and also doing, you know, tons of cardio and having a lot of stress in your body, it's sort of like, I feel like you get to this point where you would just be better off being in ketosis, right? Like, because you would be able to eat slightly more and have more nutrient dense food and have a lot more of your essential macronutrients. And then your body is just going to be burning your stored fat as energy. You know, like, I mean, does it not just seem like common sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one way we like to look at it is, you know, by going carnivore, you're essentially making sure that you're not diluting your calories.
Yes.
In that sense, I know some people will disagree. Oh, there's some vitamin C in potatoes. You know, okay,
Cool, man.
which
That's
is cool. But you know, put it next to like, you know, steak or eggs, like there's no comparison, right? And so that's going to be very interesting to see. You know, our suspicion, and you know, unfortunately, there's not a lot of data on this, right? Because again, like prevalent belief, right, that carbs are essential, especially in the bodybuilding space. But you know, there's never been like good data on carnivore diets and cutting and going through like cycles of bulking and cutting and things like that. But you know, I'd be willing to bet like you're gonna retain a lot of muscle mass, if not all of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
I think it just makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember last summer when I would even say I was being strict carnivore, but I was leaning towards that direction and maybe having like, you know, just a little honey in my coffee or something. So probably still, you know, like around like 60 or 70 grams of carbs. So not enough to be like in ketosis and not full carnivore, but still like the most shredded at that body weight that I'd ever been, for sure. Like undoubtedly. And so I'm really eager to see, and like did not lose any mass. I'm pretty sure I did lose around 10 pounds ish when I was on like carnivore-ish then. But yeah, so super eager to see, you know, what the results are this time. Because
do you measure like your body fat and like your lean body mass in any way?
I haven't measured it in a while, but I usually try to get on an in-body if I ever find one. I don't do many social outings. And I'm like, by social outings, I mean like going to a GNC or something, which never happens, which where's all the in-bodies are. But I did visit I visited a gym in Connecticut last year, like tail end of the year, right before I went on my build. And my body fat percentage was at somewhere around like 23 or 24%, which I'm chilling with. Yeah. So I try to measure it whenever I can. You brought up a good point. I'm probably going to immediately try to go find somewhere to measure my body percentage.
No, I was just curious because you said like you felt the most shredded you'd ever been at that weight. But I don't know if you were going by like data or just like by how you felt or pictures.
Oh, pictures for sure.
Oh, okay. No, which is, you know, totally valid too. I'm not trying to say like,
no
measure like.
No, it's a good metric to have. I mean, I even set up maybe it's extreme, but maybe it's not. But I'm such an experimenter that sometimes maybe my experiments go awry, or like I take, you know, even like I take like the blood supplement from Ancestral Supplements sometimes, but it does not make me feel right. And so like I was taking it for like a week and I was like, I just feel kind of bad. And then if I really like, you know, put two and two together, I was like, crap, I started this new supplement. So now I've gone in and I've done this thing. Have you ever heard of a sauna?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can create cards, obviously, but you can customize them and have like custom inputs. And so like now I have like a wellness diary, and every day I do a wellness check-in. And so, I like put my body weight, my macros for that day, what supplements that I took, what workout I did. And so like just kind of like gathering all this information. So if like something changes, like my mood or my outlook, and it's not revolving around like my cycle, I'll be able to like pinpoint what I did, right? So if I'm eating carnivore and I have like, something that, like let's say I splurge big time and have some stevia or something. If I feel awful the next day and I've checked it in my thing, I'll be like, oh,
yeah,
more stevia for me, or like if fruit makes me feel awful, I'll just be able to know. So anyway, so that's how I keep track of most things.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's always good because you don't know. Sometimes there might be a delayed effect on something you had and how it makes you feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important to always be sort of like monitoring the things that you put into your body and like what makes you feel best and what makes you not feel so good.
Yeah. So I'm curious, can you tell us a bit about how you went into this bulk, especially with like the animal-based approach? Like what were you eating? What like your strategy was, and well, now I guess you said you're going into carnivore, which is pretty straightforward, but yeah, I guess just for any woman out there that might be interested in knowing how do I bulk, how do I put on muscle mass like with this approach?
Yeah. I mean, I would say definitely, in the beginning, I would increase dietary fat before I would increase carbs, right? I do that for a couple of reasons. I particularly don't care for my body to get used to me having like an absorbent amount of carbs. Like, like some bodybuilders are eating, 300, 400, 500 grams of carbs at the top of their builds. And I don't think that's good for your system in general. So throughout this last build, I would monitor my blood sugar each day, because there was a point throughout the build that I was eating, a lot of like maple syrup and honey. And I did notice that like my blood sugar would, kind of like be a little bit high in the morning. And when I say a little bit, I'm talking like 102 or 103. So I sort of like stepped back and I was like, okay, obviously like I'm eating something, which obviously was the maple sugar or maple syrup and honey. And it just was really interesting to sort of like see that I'm still eating 150 grams of carbs or less, but you're still able to like have like this spike in blood sugar in the morning. Like your fasting blood sugar is still able to be high. And so I can't even imagine what it would be like if I would have actually measured in my last builds when I was eating 400 or 500 grams of carbs. Because probably the same amount of sugar that I'm having, the whole like maybe 60 grams of like honey and maple syrup, I would probably in my builds would have had easily that amount of like pure sugar as well. So it's like I can't even imagine what those 400 or 500 carbs were doing to my system throughout my builds.
Yeah, imagine.
Dude.
Yeah.
So that was really eye-opening for me. So yeah, I feel like I would definitely like increase fat and carbs at the same time, but like just like slowly, like steadily increasing your carbs and not doing like big jumps. So, before my build, I would probably eat, 70, 80, 90 grams of carbs a day. And I felt great on that. And then, once I got in my build and started working out a little bit harder, just as far as like I had excess energy. So I would, really give it all at the gym. Like I would slowly start to increase my carbs, but then there is this point where like too much is too much. So I would, definitely next build, I'll probably monitor my blood sugar more closely and, try to do a little bit different, like carb split as far as like whether it's coming from whole fruits, whether it's coming from honey or maple syrup, and like, keep like the purely sugar forms a little bit more in check.
Yeah. No, that's a good point about even having these natural forms of sugar. You're getting these unusual blood sugar levels that you're not used to. So it does bring a question of like, how much should you be having? How much, even if your purpose is to gain, ideally you want that gain to be muscle, not else. Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it would be interesting
Yeah.
for the next time around.
Yeah. But the things that I ate, I mean, we're still, fruit, honey, maple syrup, organs, raw dairy. Oh my gosh, guys. I found this dairy farm close to me and they sell raw cream and it is Ella, stop it.
It's the ground beef delivery.
It's the ground beef delivery. But anyways, they sell straight up cream and it is phenomenal. And so I have eaten a ton of heavy cream.
Oh, that's so good.
Is that there in Florida or back home?
Back home. Oh, but I brought it with me. Don't worry.
You brought the cream?
Yes, we brought it in ice chest and then froze it when we got here so that we could make it the whole month and have cream. Because my dad is so addicted to the cream now. When I say addicted, I don't mean actually addicted, but
yeah, no, of course, no, we get it, it.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. We have yet to find like a farm that will sell us
raw butter or raw cream or anything like that. It's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Oh man, but never mind. I was gonna say send us some, but then obviously it would be your share. So it doesn't work.
Well, she's cutting now. So
yeah. Oh yeah, you're cutting, right? So
yes.
we'll help you out.
we'll take away those calories from you.
I'll still buy the same amount and I'll just send you what I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
I'll have a jar out and just be like, oh, every ounce that I have to reduce my cream intake by, I'll pour it into the Butterfield Brothers jar.
Yes. We'll take it.
Yeah. So are you into your cut? I guess you're transitioning into it. Like, are you just like tapering off? Like you cut out all the fruits and added honeys and syrups.
Yep.
And then as far as dairy goes, you're just tapering off on that.
Yeah. I'm hoping by the end of it that I'll be doing pretty much a lion diet situation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just like meat, salt, animal fat. And really seeing how that dials in the physique towards the end of the fat loss phase. So I'll only go 12 weeks. So I'm eager to see how it is. But yeah, I'm really sad about slowly cutting out my dairy.
Yeah, dairy is hard to let go.
Yeah, I mean, you're just getting ready for the summer, which
absolutely. Yeah. And then I'll probably stay at maintenance for 2 or 4 weeks, and I'll probably go on another build.
Nice. Yeah.
But maybe a whole carnivore build. We never know.
Yeah. And as far as your training routine, like your weightlifting routine, are you more focused on powerlifting, like going heavy, like low reps? Like what is your programming looking like?
No, so my programming is more physique oriented. So the coach I'm working with, we're planning to probably do a competition in a couple of years.
Couple years?
Yeah. So maybe not 2023 or 2024, maybe 2025, maybe 2024. We'll just see. So we're gonna go through these cycles of like building and cutting, and really just like dialing in a physique. Because I'm the type of girl, like when I get on stage, I want to be the best, right? So like I'm willing to waste the time.
In it to win it. You're not gonna rush it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm walking in, I'm blowing these people's minds. Like they're gonna be like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
What
The
did
winner.
Damn. Maybe we should set out the same goal.
what?
Oh, I was saying maybe we should have the same goal. You know, maybe in 2-3 years,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
just become this huge ball of muscle.
The carnivore Mr. Olympias.
Yeah.
Huh. Carnivore Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. Well, we've been on a bulk. We've been having like 20 plus eggs a day, trying to reach 30, but then just 30 just feels so much.
Yeah.
It's hard to sustain 30 eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just burning through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys know what your macros are at?
We got up as high as 3,400 calories.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've been floating around there, 3,000 to 3,400. Yeah, I think that's.
It's hard to eat that much. I won't lie, especially on like any type of like, I mean, whether it be animal based, carnivore, like it's tough.
Yeah, if you're not adding junk calories, which is like the average person probably would,
Yeah.
and you're actually eating real food, it is harder.
Yeah. It's almost like you need honey, you need dairy, you need sugar fruits.
A guy messaged me on Instagram and asked me a question, and I found myself typing back, just take a spoonful of tallow. A supplement. And he was like, that is so off-putting. And I was just like, well, now you know how savage I am. Like, you know, when it comes to like if I need to increase my calories, like I will literally just go drink heavy cream or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, eat a spoonful of lard or tallow or whatever it is, just to like get it down so I don't have to like eat another meal, like physically sit down and like eat something.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's probably easy 100 to 200 calories there.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't feel them.
Yeah, at all.
Yeah.
We've been doing these egg shakes. We're going through a phase right now. Man, they're so good. But we just blend like a few eggs together, like 6 or sometimes 12,
Uh-huh.
and then it just really, we have this immersion blender which does a really good job of like just like frothing it up, so it just gets really bubbly and creamy.
Mhm.
And then, oh man, if you add milk or yogurt, it's delicious. It's like such a treat. I can't get over it. It's just really easy calories. You're drinking eggs, so you're getting like, it's like nature's protein shake, and yeah, and and you can build on it as much as you want. Imagine if you threw in like honey or whatever, like cinnamon or whatever sweetener you like. It's just so easy to drink those calories.
Mhm.
But yeah, we always get the question, right? Like, oh, how can I eat more calories? How can I
Mhm.
bulk on carnivore, like without having to add carbs? And you tell people, yeah, just drink eggs. We're like, what?
You see the cinema video back of you cracking 12 eggs into a immersion blender.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sometimes we'll even like make some coffee in it, like some coffee in the morning, espresso.
Yeah,
It's the best.
espresso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you drink coffee, but
I do.
yeah, we're still hooked.
I mean, I think honestly, I went a year after my seizure with no caffeine, no coffee, no tea, nothing. And although it was fine, when I started drinking coffee again, I realized how many like mental benefits that it has, as far as like having been in my adult life and not been addicted to caffeine. I can honestly say that for me, the pros outweigh the cons, like if it's going to strip you of your minerals, take some minerals. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to the most nutrient dense diet, right? From average diet to carnivore, you're going up in nutrients, right?
Yeah.
So coffee, if you had coffee before and you're still having coffee, I mean, I'm sure it's a net positive still.
Yeah.
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 Enjoy the coffee.
Absolutely.
It's toxic and it's a pesticide. Plants are trying to kill you.
It's got tannins or whatever.
There's 300 carcinogens in coffee. No, I'm just playing.
just making stuff
just,
up.
just, it's carnivore rhetoric.
Yeah.
Yeah. The carnivore chamber does get pretty like starts scaring you about just like innocuous things.
Yeah. I will say you guys are pretty hardcore. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Hardcore, as in.
I mean, like, like I feel like in the carnivore community, it's like if you eat one plant, you are gonna die.
No.
I mean, on the spot, you swallow it, it hits the esophagus, and you're dead.
Yeah, plants just want the opportunity.
Right. They're just living to take you out.
Yeah.
Can't trust them. I trust my animals.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
They destroy plants.
They destroy plants.
They're plant killers.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. I think it's obviously it's valuable to know what these effects these plants do. Obviously, some people report improving symptoms by eliminating plants. So that I understand the people that try to say, hey, plants are trying to kill you, and there's some pretty good arguments. I think that, but at the end, it scares the normal person. The normal person is like, a plant's trying to kill me, man.
Yeah.
And so they never venture into carnivore. So if the messaging was more around, eat more meat because it's clearly healthy for you and it's beneficial for you.
Yeah.
Maybe try it out without plants and see what you find out.
Yeah.
Not because they're trying to kill you, but because who knows how you might feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there's a lot more room in this group to be more experimental. Like, I mean, I'm not saying, look, I probably won't ever eat plants again because I don't like plants. I mean, like, as far as like vegetables go,
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed vegetables. Why am I going to eat something that I don't like? But on the flip side, it's like, dude, if you really love your salad and you want to eat salad once a week, who am I to judge?
Yeah.
Like what power do I have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely encourage people to like do what feels good for them. And like, it's like, even so, like, I'm flirting this line even right now of just like, what if I do get to a point where I'm like, well, I want a sweet coffee, but I need to stay in ketosis. I'm like, do I put a little stevia in my coffee? Is that leaf going to murder me? Or, and so like, I feel like it's just so highly individualized, and like, it's whatever works for you in that moment in time. Like, I definitely am not I know people are like, you shouldn't replicate carbs. And I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
What, you shouldn't have carnivore pancakes. And I'm like, well, just because you call it a pancake doesn't mean it's actually a pancake. So why are your feathers ruffled because I'm calling it a carnivore pancake? It's literally eggs.
Yeah.
It's skillet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just definitely think everybody's so individualized. And I'm with you guys. Like, I'm ready to get as many people into this lifestyle as possible. I don't give a rip what else you eat. I mean, I do. But as long as you increase your meat intake, and then you can slowly start. But it's like saying to somebody who's eaten, a plate of brownies and binged for 10 years, they're coming and they're like, I want to try this carnivore thing or whatever. It's like trying to tell them, yes, overnight, you should absolutely stop eating any sugar at all that your body's been addicted to for the last 10 years. And tomorrow morning you wake up and be healed because you started carnivore. No.
Yeah.
Not how it works. But like encouraging them to eat more meat and them start feeling better and kind of like getting those residual effects of just like being nourished is like, I think super important, and like good like reference points inside of them of victory in their health journey to make them want to continue to go forward. And then maybe they would be like, you know what? I do notice, like, because I've noticed the meat makes me feel so good. Now I'm starting to notice that these other foods don't make me feel good. And like, I've never found a greater incentive than this makes me feel like trash.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like animal based or carnivore. It's like, I won't go back to a standard American diet ever. Why? You know, it's not because I don't love Oreos. You know, it's not because I don't love cake. It's because I feel so freaking good on a day-to-day basis that I do not want to feel bad like ever again, like I did when I would eat a standard American diet. You know, and so like to me, that's such an incentive in and of itself, but it's definitely something that you have to learn on your path as opposed to like somebody telling you that, right? Like it's really hard to understand how good you feel unless you try it. So yeah, I'm with y'all.
I love it. I love it. Yes, 100%. You can't just like make a bullet point list and be like, hey, this is all you're getting, and then the person's gonna be like, oh, I understand, and then their life completely changes just because you told them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's definitely more of a learning experience. It's honestly it's the only way they have to learn.
Yeah.
So you mean we shouldn't tell them like cut out all the plants and then change out all your pants? Also, your clothes are killing you. Microplastics in water, and you know
the whole menu of things that they have to worry about.
what else would they scare you about?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're spraying in the sky.
Yes. Hit them instantly with the planes flying over crops, dropping pesticides.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I definitely.
It's a process.
It is a process. It is a process. And it's like, I mean, you don't want them to fear it, right? Like you don't want anybody to do something out of fear, right? Like I see this in religion a lot. You know, like it's so scare tactic into believing in something because you're so fearful of what might happen if you don't. And so it's kind of like if people enter the carnivore community and all they see is microplastics this and don't eat that and this is toxic and that's toxic. It's like, okay, even me, as conscious as I am and as conscious as I've become over this journey, like if I were to like have an intrinsic fear about the toxicity around me, I think I would have a complex, you know, like that would be so overwhelming. Like I'm just like looking around at all the things. Like I drink out of a Stanley cup and it's a plastic straw and a plastic lid. Am I going to die?
Yeah.
You know? And so like, I think there's just a fine line between, you know, really encouraging people to just try something for themselves and let them choose what it is that they want to do with the rest of their time. You know, whether that's like, oh, maybe I want to get some organic cotton workout clothes, which I haven't even done yet. Looked into it many times, but yet to be something that I act on. But it's like, you know, I love my Lulus.
Yeah.
So every time that you're putting your Lulus on,
I'm like,
you're like, oh.
Is the polyester? Is that
probably like spandex.
yeah, you name it.
Mix. I don't know.
There's probably titanium dioxide in here.
No, I mean you're right. All right. Food first. Get that, and that will get you maybe 90% there.
Yeah. I mean, we don't really even know the impact of these other things on human health. Like when I look at it, and I've looked at it in depth, I'm like, am I really like, is this really hurting me? It all suffers from like the same, just like observational bias. It's like epidemiology. It's like, oh, we use more plastic today than we did 50 years ago. In the same time, you know, we're fatter than ever. So plastic makes you fat.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's no,
like,
if you've interviewed 100 people that are on a standard American diet and you're like, yeah, plastic makes you fat. It's like, oh, are you sure?
Yeah, which is I don't like that It's like fear-based
Yeah.
messaging. We try to stay away from that as much as possible because
Yeah.
I don't think it's helpful.
Yeah, no,
think-
absolutely. It's so much helpful. Like I've figured this out too. It's like, people, and I think historically, like have used like fear as a manipulation tactic.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
it's just like, just tell them what you want them to do. Like people are easy. It's just like, tell them what to eat. Don't tell them what not to do, but tell them what to do. Because you leave them like in this like frantic state of like, okay, if I can't do that, what can I do? And it's like nobody else is answering that question. I mean, of course, like here in our community, we were kind of like, okay, eat meat, work out, get sun, get sleep, just these like basic things.
Yeah.
Add salt to everything. But, in and of that messaging is like some people get so lost in, like testosterone is ruining our society or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, what do you need them to do? Like, what do you want them to do? Like, okay, yes, testosterone's a problem. Are we just going to talk about the problem all day? How about some solutions?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, mainstream, I think, mainstream is just it's meant to just confuse you, really,
Yeah.
not really inform you.
Yeah.
I mean, no one really benefits from that. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about your podcast, Meet
Oh.
Cute. By the way, if you're listening to this, Alex had us on her podcast. You should definitely go check it out. She's had other great guests too. You've had Courtney Luna. I saw Dr. Kiltz over there.
Yeah. Lily Rubio, she's on there. We've got a few
Yeah.
others. Oh, Jesselyn Randall. I've had her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's
nice.
awesome. Yeah. So, and we got some big ones coming up too. I won't ruin the surprises, but they are awesome as well. I've been so fortunate with the podcast, honestly. Like every time somebody says back to me, like, yes, I'll be on the podcast, I'm like, sick. I can't believe you said yes. But yeah, so Meet Cute has started out, and it will remain that way, but we are sort of evolving it into this space where we are going to talk about like these like deep-seated issues that sort of we all struggle with and that we all have around like disordered eating and like your relationship with food and sort of like how that's evolved. And I know we've touched on that even in our podcast that we recorded together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of it's like a radical exploration into just why and how you are who you are. And it's, heavily rooted in food. And yeah, I'm really excited. I think I'm booked out until like recording wise until April. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm booked out till April. So
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you for making the time tonight.
yeah. No, I'm anything for you too. But yeah, so I'm super excited. It's going super well. And yeah, I really look forward to like its growth and seeing it evolve.
Awesome. No,
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I guess the carnivore community is kind of like an interesting group of people talk about, their experiences, because not everyone jumps to carnivore. A lot of people just stay with whatever they're dealing with
Yeah.
because they don't know better, or I don't know. Maybe they
Right.
haven't heard of carnivore. They probably heard the mainstream version of carnivore and they're not into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we, Courtney and I talked a little bit. I have a little chat with the girls, and we were talking a little bit just about intuitive eating and it kind of being just like bullshit, And, I've never really thought about it too much. Like Courtney got on, she's like, I gained, like 40 pounds doing intuitive eating. And then like Lily came in and she was like, yeah, I gained like X amount of pounds. And I was just like, I've never really thought about like too deep into it. And like, I remember back in the day, whenever I was struggling with like binge eating and stuff, I did follow this girl who just preached this intuitive eating. Right. And like, I saw her go from really like fit and active to just like sort of overweight. And she's just like, yeah, you just need to intuitive eat. I'm happier than I have ever been. And I was just like, something in me just didn't buy that. And so, like really, I'm really excited to like, like touch on, carnivore just even being meat based as like this like optimum place to start. Like if you're struggling with anything like mental health wise, right, or eating disorder wise, like I feel like just increasing your meat intake, especially red meat, is going to like, I mean, I feel like you're just going to instantly feel better, so yeah, so that's kind of my take on, like the carnivore community. Because I feel like we all have experienced that, because I feel like everyone has sort of like gone through these like phases of, where they have this like really unhealthy, weird relationship with food, and it, is kind of like led them to being carnivore. And I don't even know that any of us expected the result that we do have now. It's like, even going into it, I didn't think for one single second that I was going to go from what I was doing and then in less than a year have a complete turnaround where I'm like starting a beef organ supplement company, and I'm like hosting a podcast that is like strictly rooted in like eating more meat.
Meat
you
cute.
know, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, I always say, and I keep coming back to this, it's just been life-changing.
Yeah.
Eye-opening. I wish for more people to experience this, because I think something very interesting that you're mentioning is, just how we've all been affected by food, by these food products, particularly growing up. I think, these food products, like, they put a spell on you, right? They just like, they mess you up, like they do something. And carnivore is a strong tool to fight back against that and heal from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you say intuitive eating, I'm thinking Alex's ribeye and milk diet. That's what your intuition should tell you, and yours did.
I want to get on that ribeye and milk diet.
Yeah, I want to drink 4
Bulking protocol.
Bulking protocol. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I feel like that was true. So, like I feel like true instinct comes from like this life or death situation, right? Like my body was literally facing this like, death situation. Although, I know people come out of seizures all the time, and I'm not saying that mine was any worse than anybody else's, but it's like when you think about anybody that has a seizure, even epilepsy or whatever it is, I mean, 30 more seconds with no oxygen to your brain and you would be brain dead. Like it is truly like you are knocking on death's door every time you go into any type of like seizure, heart attack, right? Like something is not functioning in the body. And so to me, like that's true intuition. Like that's like the most intuitive that you can get. And, I come out wanting like ribeye and milk, but then you've got other people teaching this like false sense of intuition. It's like, intuition is not, I want to eat Oreos, so I'm just going to eat 4 instead of 12. That's
Yeah. Very, very well put.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, if you ask I don't know, I have never interacted with this intuitive eating group. But if you ask them, hey, eat more red meat, they'd be like, oh, no, that stuff kills you.
Yeah, or they would say, "Oh no, I want to be able to eat my ice cream, so I can't fit the calories in for the red meat." Right? So okay.
That's not it.
Yes, that's not intuitive.
That's not intuitive. That's not intuition. That's what do you call it? Just pursuing.
I feel like that's addiction.
Yeah.
Right?
Justifying addiction. Yeah.
I'm going to intuitively drink 2 bottles of wine.
Some tequila tonight.
Yeah. My intuition tells me.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Wait, but back to the seizure. You were vegan when that happened? Was that
No,
when you?
I
Oh, you
was,
weren't vegan.
yeah, I
Okay.
was standard American diet. I feel like I was just getting
Oh,
up
okay.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't try any like weird brownies at the Tulum beach, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
That was the first thing. We went into the hospital and they were like, "Did she take any drugs?" And my partner was like, "No, she didn't take anything."
Yeah.
And they were like, "She took drugs." And Courtney was like, "She did not take drugs." You know, she had to tell them like a lot
Yeah.
because it's so
No,
common there for people to come in from taking
Yeah.
weird stuff.
yeah, the merchants would literally like walk around in the beach and just like straight up sell you,
Oh, really?
yeah, like lace
Oh,
brownies.
yeah, they just like walk around and they're like weed, Molly, heroin, like just out in the
Yeah,
open, like just
Wow.
yeah,
saying
steroids.
whatever you want, anything you want.
Yeah,
You go get jacked at
you,
Tulum.
you can.
You can't go get anabolic.
Yeah, they have.
You
Yeah,
can
straight
buy
up.
HGH at the pharmacy.
Oh, nice. Nice.
It's a different world.
Long overdue.
Literally says on signs, there are like signs outside of the pharmacies, so it's like get like HGH or Adderall or what oxytocin or is that what they're called? Pain pills. Yeah.
Oxycontin. Yeah.
Yeah, Oxycontin, oxytocin. Yeah, so
Glutathione.
it's a whole different animal down there.
Wow. Yeah. So you're starting a supplement company, Humanimal.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How's that? How's that going?
It is going. So we are currently we're working with a company out of the UK, and they're doing our branding for us. I feel like I started in the beginning with this idea of like bootstrapping the company, obviously, because I've only have so much money to invest. But I ended up, as I got deeper into it, I was like, I want to provide a quality product for these people, right? Like, I don't want to just give them something that, like was the cheapest thing I could possibly make. And so I've ended up over the last couple of months finding an investor and doing some stuff like that. And it has been life-changing to just like see it come alive, right? And like to go from having this mentality where like get on Fiverr and find somebody to contract out work, and to actually like talking with a legitimate branding agency that like gets back with me every week, and that we like get to cultivate like what this brand is actually about. And part of like my mission is I truly believe that like animal organs are part of what helped me heal my thyroid. And so I'm really looking forward to doing blends that are specifically formulated to like supplement people who have, whether like hypothyroidism, PCOS, but not making it so difficult. Whereas like my counterparts or, my competitors would have you take, they're like, oh, mix these 7 organs, like take all of these every single day. I want to make it more accessible and easy for people to just like, if a girl struggles with PCOS, for her to like pop on there and be like, okay, I'm struggling with PCOS. Or so there's like a blend that literally supports PCOS, or like there's a blend that supports like digestive health or gut health. And so yeah, so that's kind of the direction that we're moving in. So we're due to launch in April tentatively. So
Nice.
yeah, so super exciting.
Cool. It's coming up.
It's coming up. It is coming up very
No,
fast.
no, that's exciting. I mean, you certainly are quite the entrepreneur, right? Doing the podcast, your own supplement company. Uh, Now you also have an office,
I know.
right? No, that's huge. That's a huge first step for the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I love it. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely pretty stoked. It's been a huge blessing. And I feel like when you do stuff that's in alignment with who you are, and especially when you do stuff to your body that's in alignment with what your body wants, like beautiful things come of it. And, honestly, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I've tried and failed many different times on just like cultivating ideas that I've had for businesses in the past. And honestly, I've struggled so much with ADHD in the past that I couldn't focus long enough to, like actually succeed at something or to like move into the stages where I'm at now. And it's been such a beautiful thing to witness myself changing in that way. But to like, be able to get up and stick to a to-do list and not have a mental breakdown, like, I mean, it's truly life-changing. And I can honestly attribute all of that to being animal-based / carnivore. Like, there's no other reason that
Wow.
all of a sudden I would wake up and just be able to do it other than my diet.
You sure it's not the medications that you're secretly taking?
It's the
Right.
moment.
I see some prescription bottles.
Did I leave it? Yeah. No, I mean, and like, I by no way want to like promote that there are not ups and down days. Like, there are plenty of things to go through carnivore, right? Like, if you don't have enough salt, you're gonna feel like trash.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
there are these things that you sort of like have to figure out along the way. But honestly, it's such a beautiful ride, and like you just notice like constant improvement all the time. And so, yeah, it's definitely been really eye-opening for me, and definitely not something that I'll like go back on, plan to build my whole life around this. Like, my dad's even talking about buying a cattle farm and doing grass-fed beef out of it. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, he owns nursing homes. And he just talked, like, we got in this big discussion about his patients having such trash meat, right? And meat not being a big part of their diet. And he was like, I wonder if we change their diet. And like, if we bought a cattle ranch that supplied the beef for our nursing home, if like it would improve their health. And I was like,
Wow.
100%. So yeah, it's definitely making goals over here.
So you're influencing your family too, which is super important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something very interesting there is the nursing home aspect. So, I'm unfamiliar in this area, but you mentioned that the food that they give people over there. How do the diet plans get decided there? Who tells them what food to serve, or how do what guidelines do they have to follow?
Yeah, would it shock you to say it's government?
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are definitely. So if you take like a Medicare or Medicaid patient and you put them in the nursing home, you are literally given. Now, that's a government funded patient. And so if you don't pay for private care, you have a government funded like Medicare or Medicaid plan.
Mhm.
And so those patients, they have to buy their food for less than, I think it's like $6 a day or something like that. And so like budgeting out meals that are going to make it underneath that, especially when you're buying it from, like these mass food producers. It's kind of like a school meal, right? Like, your school meals are literal trash. And your nursing home food is coming from the same people. And so, yeah, so your money only stretches so far. Actually, I think it's $3 a day. I don't know. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like something really, really low where you're just like, I don't know how you would feed anyone like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
$6. I was thinking Well, at least you could probably get a carton of eggs, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah. So
Um,
I'll be eager to see if but I'm pretty sure you can do what, if they wanted to spend more money on food and feed their patients something else. It's like there are some like creme de la creme nursing homes, right, where people pay for private care. And so they probably get, filet mignon for dinner.
yeah.
But when you're talking about these like government funded patients, they just don't have the budget to do that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see someone conduct a carnivore diet experiment on nursing home patients.
Nursing
Oh my
home.
gosh, that'd be sick.
And then, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, some people would think it's cruel. I actually think like a lot of their issues would be alleviated at the very least.
Yeah. Higher
Because-
quality of life.
Because, a lot of people in the nursing homes, they're going to be suffering like, cognitive function problems, and then diabetes, I suppose, arthritis, and all of the above, really. All the things that, take
well,
life.
it's so important to remember too that nursing homes aren't just a place where like the elderly live. So like my partner, for example, her aunt is in a long-term care facility in Connecticut, and she's only in her 50s, and she's got MS, and she's been there for the last, I think, maybe 10 years, and so like has like not cognitively, she's sharp as a tack. I mean, she goes like, she fights for like nursing home rights at like a governmental level. I mean, she's a hoss, but she stays and she lives there, and she's also restricted by that budget, right? Like her family doesn't have enough money to go buy her like whatever it is. So I'm just like, it's really sad. It is so sad, that there are a ton of people like that live in long-term care facilities, family members that aren't willing to take care of their children, even that are, disabled or whatever. They'll live in long-term care facilities.
Wow.
Yeah. But it would be amazing to see what I keep telling my partner, like, I would love to see what happened to her aunt if she did carnivore full time.
Yeah.
I'm like, just to see.
I know, right? I know. I feel like, right. I know. Obviously, we can't say, oh yeah, everything will be fixed. But I feel like there will be there should
some changes. Yeah.
Something should be positive out of that.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. That's tough. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to like.
Oh no.
But yeah, definitely an awareness thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that because sometimes some people are just some people don't follow carnivore diet. Some a friend of a friend, you run into them and then they hear that some of their family some of their family are experiencing some of these like mental diseases, and you're like, maybe you should try a carnivore, and then they're just gonna look at you. You are insane, right?
Yeah.
That's nonsense. That's the last thing.
Yeah. It's like the tip of the so my dad for the longest was like, I'm not doing this diet. This is dumb. Like whatever. And so I came home and I was like cooking for a couple of weeks, and he would just eat what I would cook. And he was just like, I think you're onto something here, but like the straw that broke the camel's back was my Uncle Bo came in the house, who never gives a compliment ever. He's just like one of those guys, like if anything, it's an anti-compliment, right? And he like looks at me, he said, sweetheart, your skin looks amazing. What are you doing? And my dad was like, what? Did you just give her a compliment? And so still, like, he will say it all the time. He's like, I cannot believe that your Uncle Bo said that to you. And he's now a believer, right? Like, he's Like, and it's just so interesting what really like gets people going.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Is that his brother or?
Yeah. Well, he's not my real uncle. I just call him.
Oh.
He's
Oh.
my grandma has a twin sister. My grandma, my dad's mom, and my Uncle Bo's twin sister are that's how they're connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, technically by blood, he would be my uncle because he would have my grandmother's genetics because she has an identical twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair point.
Fair. Fair. We'll count it as an uncle.
We count it. We deem this acceptable.
No, but that's awesome. That's awesome. So now your dad's into it. Is he doing like 100% or maybe something else? 80% animal based stuff?
So he is committed for this next month since I'm on a cut, with the exception of some monk fruit in his coffee because he was like, I can't do without a sweet in my coffee. And I was like, all right, so this was the compromise. So, but other than that, he's committed to doing it for 30 days and just seeing what happens.
That's awesome.
But some great things we've seen in him is like, whenever I first got home and I was taking his blood sugar, it would be like, 110, 111. And now he's easily under 100, like
Nice.
80% of the time. So it's really made a big change in him just being animal based, like more meat, fruit. And he struggles with gout as well. And he's not had a single flare up from all the red meat, which I think is ridiculous.
There we go. Nice.
There we go.
Yeah. We just did a post on gout.
Yeah.
It's like such a commonly asked question.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Great to hear.
Yeah. The topic of gout has been trending for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Recently. So
well, I just find it interesting. Everybody that I meet that has gout are usually like pretty severely overweight. And I'm like, never thought it was from inflammation, maybe.
No, the doctor just told him to avoid red meat. Avoid all meats.
Yeah. The plague. Eat more grains. How about some high fructose corn syrup?
Yeah.
That's good for you.
Yeah.
Grains with ketchup.
Yeah. Like whatever disease, red meat did it to you. So out.
Yes.
And then just keep everything else in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like cereal is the optimal human food. Something more perfect than cereal.
Oh yeah.
It's perfect. It's just
healthier.
It can sit on a shelf for months.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Doesn't that mean we're gonna last longer? We eat it. We sit on shelf for months, or
we get preserved. Every time we have
maybe our corpses.
I want to be preserved with Fruit Loops, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Lowers your cholesterol.
Yeah, lowers your cholesterol.
Heart healthy.
Super heart healthy.
Stamped by the American Heart Association.
Lovely people. Yeah. Who no one knows who's there, but they're good people.
Mm-hmm. I admit I did work for the American Heart Association for a little while.
Oh no!
Right after my post grad days in DC. Oh. Yeah.
How dare you?
I know. I was vegan at the time too.
Oh my god!
Oh, double damage.
Yeah, double. What else? Were you like an epidemiologist over there?
Did you publish studies that said red meat is bad for you? And then left?
Triple whammy.
Triple whammy.
Yeah, I actually did look for donors so I worked on the I can't remember what it's called now, but it's like a 4-day wine tasting and auction, and so I had to solicit donations from local businesses, and 90% of them were like cookies, like cakes, stuff like that, like little snack foods. And now looking back, I'm like, that makes so much sense. It's like, would you not serve heart healthy things at your events?
Oh my god.
Crazy. crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any secrets you can spill? Anything you saw over there?
No, not that I can think of, honestly.
No secret meetings that say slowly kill people or
Something.
No secret.
Yeah. Executives with cloaks.
Yeah. Like I didn't see the CEO of Kellogg or anything coming in.
Yeah. Harvey Kellogg still alive.
The conspiracy begins.
Yeah. He's hiding out there in DC,
Yeah.
Exactly.
preserved under the obelisk. Yeah.
Yeah. This is now the conspiracy podcast.
Yeah.
Where Alex was involved in the conspiracy of poisoning the human population.
That was
Be-
me.
uh,
The feds knock on my door tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, they were like, "Oh, you did excellent work behind back in the past.
Yeah, no kidding.
We want you back."
You're hired. But can
Oh.
we kill them a little more slowly this time?
Yeah.
We
They're
need
catching
them
on too quick.
We need them on insulin for longer, right?
Yeah.
So
Pizza rolls.
pizza rolls, yes. Pizza rolls lower your cholesterol.
They are heart healthy. They have whole grain flour in them.
It's,
Fiber.
yeah. It's made by scientists.
Of the
So-
wheat. I said you can't forget the husk of the wheat,
Oh,
the fiber, you know.
yeah, definitely eat that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Anything else? We've been keeping Alex for an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, we're nearing the 2-hour mark.
We're at the 2-hour mark basically.
Yeah, it's not much different than my episode.
Yeah, we went long for the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on a total of like 3 hours or something to that tune.
Yeah.
2 hours of recorded and then like a 30-minute conversation before and a 30-minute conversation after.
I know. Yeah.
Well, you asked some really good questions, so
Yeah. Appreciate it.
yeah. And we like to ramble on.
Yes. Yeah.
We like to keep it going.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, Alex?
So my Instagram is at @AlexAnimalBased and Shop Humanimal is the handle for the supplement company. And you can also find all the Meet Cute updates on my page at @AlexAnimalBased. Those are the two main places.
Awesome.
And you have your podcast on YouTube as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Meet Cute Podcast, MEAT on YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube.
Spotify and Apple and Amazon, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anywhere you can find the podcast.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're looking forward to your future episodes and to Humanimal.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys too.
Best of luck on your future endeavors.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, really appreciate it for joining the live stream. Thank you for the time
Oh,
and for
always
sharing. Yeah, for sharing all your experience. It's always amazing to hear your story and how everything's coming together to now where you're taking it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that.
yeah, it's also crazy to see how the craving for meat and milk just came to you. Like
Yeah.
it's like a revelation.
That is a total revelation.
Yeah.
It's like Mother Nature was telling me something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we still need you here. So
Me.
here's this.
Yeah, got things
Do
to
this. Do this.
Yeah.
Stop doing this other stuff.
You got to make up for the time that you were vegan.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So
All right, so we'll let you get back to it, Alex.
All right.
yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure as always.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
great catching up. Great
Yeah.
catching up. I'll have to do this again at some point.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I will talk to you guys later then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good night, Alex.
Good
Enjoy
night.
the warm weather. Stay warm.
I'll do my best.
All
Bye.
right. Good night. Have a
Good
good
night.
one. And that was Alex.
That was
Dropped out.
Alex.
So thanks everyone for tuning in and watching. This has been another successful podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you for Alex. Thank you, Alex, for joining. It was a lot of fun. Obviously a great story. And we'll have her on sometime in the future as well, I hope.
Yeah. If you'd like to support the show, make sure to like, subscribe, go share our content. For the algorithm. The algo lords are not very happy with our stuff. If you'd like to work with us, you can check us out at Butterfield Fitness or on our website, or just DM us the word fueled for an animal-based approach to sustainable fat loss. Keep the fat off forever and ever. No more crash dieting and no more weight rebounds. Eat beef, stay healthy, and don't forget the fat.
Until next time, everyone.
Yeah, until next time. All right, peace.